Good afternoon, everybody. It's Hunter Elliott with rangehot.com. Hope you're doing well. This afternoon, I'm finalizing my review on really two pistols, but primarily we're going to talk about the Sauer M17 based off of the P320. This is the very pistol the U.S. Army just adopted. Congratulations to SIG for overcoming all the other contestants, so to speak. I understand that the trials were tough. I think the P320 was certainly a worthy contender. It will be phasing out the M9, hoorah, because I spent some time in the Marine Corps around the M9. Personally, me, not a big fan. But nevertheless, I got a whole lot to go over. I want to get right to it. If you don't want to wait to the end of the video and you're just wondering my thoughts, well, the M17 is a nice pistol. It was reliable, plenty accurate. There you go. For those that are curious more of the details of the actual review, please stick around. We're going to go through that right now. First thing I want to do is go over some specifications. Now you'll notice that I do have 4 pistols out here laying out. All the mags are empty, all the slides are to the rear, and the chambers are clear, so they're all 4 safe to talk about. Currently, these specifications hold true to the M17 and the M17 Bravo. The only real difference between these two is the M17 is in Coyote. The Bravo itself is just in black. Total length is 8 inches. The barrel length is 4.7 inches. The weight, including the 17 round magazine, is 29.6 ounces. The height is 5.5 inches. The width is 1.3 inches. The sight radius is 6.6 inches. The trigger, it is a striker fire trigger. It's very similar to the P320. It's got some take up, brakes at 7 pounds with some over travel. The trigger is a little weird. It's certainly not bad. It's just a little different. It's not near as bad actually in live fire than dry fire, but once you kind of get used to it, it's actually not a bad trigger at all. Definitely better than a lot of everything else that's been offered as far as striker triggers go. So first of all, I want to go over the gun and some of its specifications and how it differs between the P320. Speaking of P320, this is the one that I reviewed for SIG the first of the year. Just passed a little over 2,000 rounds downrange to that pistol. Here again, I know that's not a whole lot of ammo, but I can tell you that in 2,000 rounds of various different kinds of ammunition, ball and jack and hollow point, never had any trouble with that pistol at all, myself and several other people shooting it. Now, I am a little late on producing this video. I got the M17 a while back. I did want to do my due diligence though and make sure that I got enough rounds downrange to convince myself that the U.S. Army isn't wrong. I'm being sarcastic a little bit, but still, with that said, I wanted to spend the time myself and several of my friends on the range with this gun, kind of getting to know it and make sure it was good to go. I was getting pretty close to wrapping up the review when the Bravo came in. Now here again, they are like for the most part, save the finish, but I did want to spend some range time with the Bravo just to make sure that it also, even though same, that it was equally as reliable. While I got your attention, this is a prototype pistol. This would be, if introduced, SIG P320 Talo edition, and it definitely has some upgrades over the basic P320 with a really nice match trigger. You've got this stainless slide with this scale finish on it, really nice sights, whole 9 yards. Definitely a large step up over the P320. If that pistol is going to be released, it has not been decided yet, so I don't know, but I thought I've got it here. It is based on the P320. It is worth mentioning in case Talo decides to go forth and release it, and which I hope they do. Only got a few mags to that gun, but it was reliable and plenty accurate. All total, over the past several months, with the M17, I got just a tick over 1,000 rounds downrange, and that would be a pretty good cross-section of what's commercially available, standard ball, as well as several different weights in jack and hollow point. Through those 1,000 rounds of myself and several other people running the gun, we didn't experience any malfunctions whatsoever, none. Gun run great. Full disclosure, probably only got less than a couple hundred rounds through the M17 Bravo. Still defensive in ball, and it still was 100% reliable, but I don't want to imply that I reviewed them equally. Much more time spent with the M17. But here again, same, so I'm pretty confident they are both good to go. Now, with that said, I'm sure the U.S. Army put their due diligence as well through testing all those guns. So when they did award SIG the contract, which I was actually by the SIG booth at SHOT Show when the news came down, and they were a whole bunch of happy folks, which I certainly do not blame them. I still did not kind of hold back on my review. I actually went a little bit above and beyond the normal round count, primarily because, well, I had the ammo, and I really did want to spend a lot of time with the gun, and there were a lot of folks that wanted to get to try it out. So it just kind of worked out for the good as far as that. Just caused me to kind of push having the review published back a few weeks. It is what it is. I apologize. Anyway, like I was saying, let's start with the features. I'm going to ride the slide home, mag is out, double check the chamber. We know she's clear. I'm going to snap on the manual safety. What was that you said? Manual safety, P320? Yes, sir, that is correct. I don't feel like that a striker fire gun needs a manual safety. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's what the Army spec'd. That's what delivered, and it's here, so might as well use it. Anyway, it did work pretty fine off and on. It is ambidextrous, so either or. You also have the ambidextrous slide lock on this pistol, which I also believe was spec'd when all the test guns were sent out. Coming up here to the top, you will notice there's a black plate here, and that plate is actually removable. You remove that plate, and it allows you to mount a red dot optic on this pistol. The only really downside of that is when you remove the plate, the rear sight comes with it. So recognize that. The sights are the SIG night sights. You got two small little lamps here in the rear, one large one in the front. So, you know, during the day, bright light, whatever, you've got that nice, comfortable 3-dot sighting system. Low light, no light, you do have the night sights working for you. Coming out here to the bottom of the gun, you'll notice it does have an accessory rail, as it should, but it is different than what the P320 has, which is a full rail. This is more of like a 2/3 rail. Nevertheless, any accessories or what have you that I wanted to mount on the gun was not a problem. You come down here to the receiver area. It is nicely textured on the front strap, rear strap, and both sides, which is just fine. Because with this pistol, you get what you get. You do not have the ability to change out the back straps and that sort of stuff. Though, you do have the ability to easily change out the receiver. If you remember a little while back, you watched the P320 review, it is a very modular pistol. And what I mean by that is, the serial number part is not the receiver. And for those of you that aren't exactly sure what I'm talking about, I'm going to go through it real quick just so you'll be familiar with it. Here again, you would start as if you're just going to field strip the pistol. You roll the takedown lever all the way to the rear, pull the slide back, slide just comes right off. Then we would start the field stripping and cleaning process if I ever clean my guns, which I will one day. To the modularity part, now you have your takedown lever here, you just kind of got to finagle it out. It takes a little bit of effort. And this piece here just pops right out. Now y'all, this is actually the serial number part. This is what SIG and the ATF considers the gun. So if you did want to do a caliber conversion or swap out the grip module, SIG has all that stuff readily available. And since this is the firearm, the serial number part, that stuff can be purchased from SIG and sent right to your house. So if you didn't like something, it's easy to change out. Now here we go. Just going to put this right back together, kind of the same way. Rock that in. That pushes down. You got a little slot here in your takedown lever. Let me get her lined up just right. And it takes a little bit of effort to get it in there, but it ain't so bad. If I could see. Then run the slide back in place. I like to lock it to the rear. Roll that takedown lever forward. And look at there. She's good to go. It's just that simple. I think that is super cool. Accuracy wise, it was plenty accurate. We set it out at 25 yards and I bagged it. Averaging out of 3-shot groups, it was averaging about 2.25 inches. With the best group of the day was with some of the SIG V-Crown 365 defensive ammo, and that measured about 1.75 inches. So not bad at all on that. Accuracy, that's about as good as I could do, so we'll go with that. Over the past, since I started the P320 and now the past few months I've been spending with these guns, I'm really growing quite fond of them. I think SIG is onto something here. Well, obviously, if the damn U.S. Army adopted it, I don't mean it like that, but I feel like SIG's onto something here. I think it's a really good, solid defensive gun. If you wanted something for home defense, self-defense, I think it's perfectly ideal, especially with the accessory rail. If you were looking for something to conceal carry, well, that's not out of the question. It is a large size pistol, so you would definitely have to bear that in mind as far as holster, belt, concealability. You do have the optional 21 round extended magazine, so you definitely can get a whole lot of firepower in a single mag. Speaking of the 21 round magazine, I ran it also in the M17 and M17 Bravo and the Talo Edition Potential P320, and it was equally reliable with the 21 round magazine as it was with the factory 17 round magazine. So whatever that means, I think that's pretty good to go. They're all factory SIG mags, gun run like sewing machine. There isn't really a whole lot that I don't like about it. I think the coyote finish is different. Me personally, I tend to gravitate toward, nondescript, kind of plain Jane. I like the P320 in black. So personally, I think the Bravo would potentially appeal to me a little bit more because it is a little more nondescript. But for those that are seeking to have the cool factor of the coyote finish, or to be able to buy the same pistol that the U.S. Army is fielding right now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever. A little bit of pride involved in owning something along those lines. Now, I realize that's a whole lot, so recognize that there is going to be an article on rangehot.com with a lot of the technical information. So if you've got any questions or how many rounds specifically did you shoot through the guns, Hunter? What were the groups exactly? What is this? What is that? I'm going to try to have all that in the article. So please jump over to rangehot.com, read that article. I would appreciate feedback, good and bad, on that. If I don't ask you a question after there, then please feel free to reach out to me. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, the whole 9 yards. I'd be glad to help any way I can. Like I mentioned earlier, I did have a whole lot of people that were certainly interested in running the M17, so they made time to come over here and spend some time with me and the pistol on the range. No one that shot it disliked it. Everybody seemed to be very well pleased with it. I actually had some guys that were some pro shooters come out and run the gun as well and get some thoughts on that. The only thing anybody ever really mentioned to me was the thumb safety. They didn't really care for that, and I heard that a little bit. But you've always got that option. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. If you want to, it's always there. So I don't really see anything terrible wrong with that. But here again, I'm just trying to be full disclosure to let y'all know my thoughts completely on the guns. So I'm going to wrap that up. I believe that is about it. I hope I went over everything as well. If you've got any questions or comments, like I say, reach out to me, let me know what you think. But I really, really did enjoy doing this review. I had a lot of fun with this pistol, spent a lot of time with it, got to know it pretty good. I have all confidence in it, just like I do my P320. So, as always, I really appreciate your support and reading the articles and watching the videos, and let me know what you think. I want you to be safe, take care of yourselves and each other, and I look forward to seeing you at the range.